Pharmaceutical drug companies, also known as the Big Pharma, are the nation's leading suppliers of prescribed drugs, which in some cases can be a good or a bad thing as long as they are properly controlled. Many drug companies do not show the negative effects that the drugs can potentially have on the user, such as side effects that can be serious or sometimes even fatal. They also do not show the millions of reports or the thousands of reports that come out of the research that they are done. Another negative thing that comes along with those reports is that they are 3 years late, so we are not seeing the numbers increase until 2 years have passed, and by that time the numbers have possibly potentially even doubled. Before reading the reports, I was a firm believer that the pharmaceutical companies were safe because there has been studies, but after seeing the results and watching the videos and reading the review, I have seen that there is a lot of holes that a lot of people aren't aware of. They believe that just because they're being given out by a pharmacist or they're being prescribed by a medical doctor that they trust, that it's going to be safe. But as I can see that is not the case. There are so many different types of side effects that can come out of these drugs that just aren't simply reported because the test trial was too small, it was too short. They're not giving out the correct type of results that have been found, and a lot of the times they're not being seen until years after they have been reported. I do believe that prescription drugs should be under the same scrutiny as illicit drugs as identified by the DEA because all of those drugs are typically supposed to be monitored. There is new ways for them to be abused and potentially cause some type of overdose. Over the years, we have seen the type of drugs that have been created by users, and there's always a new way that they have found to use them to become high. So just because the drugs have been FDA approved and they're being sold by the big pharma does not mean that they should not be under the same type of scrutiny as like meth that can be found on the street or heroin, which is one of the greatest addiction drugs that there is out there. The DEA, which is the United States Drug Enforcement Administration, has 5 different types of drug scheduling, which number 1 being the highest and number 5 being the lowest for potential abuse. And on those, there is such as with schedule number 1 having heroin, marijuana, and meth, and schedule 5 having such as Robitussin, stuff that had to be for cough that are over-the-counter prescriptions. And I think that there should be a big change for those because a lot of the times young users, that is how they get addicted with over-the-counter drugs, where it might be just as little as taking like 3 ibuprofen a day, and then slowly it's not enough for them, so they seek help from a doctor, which could lead them to potentially getting narcos in the future, any type of narcotics that can get them addicted. And that is how it stems from something as small as like cough syrup, where it can get them a little high if they know how to take it correct, or just taking any type of aspirin for their head. So I think that there should be a schedule, and that there needs to be a greater focus on this epidemic that is killing thousands of people within the United States. A lot of people do not believe this to be an epidemic, but if you look at the numbers over the past couple of years, the numbers of deaths have increased greatly, and there needs to be a better way of helping treat these people who are addicted, because this addiction, it's not something that they can recover from. It is a disease that they will have to live with for the rest of their life.